The stock market is crashing. We're heading towards World War III. What is going on? There's a very fine line in the sand here, my friends, before we go from total end of the world to nuclear apocalypse. Breaking it down right here in this video, so make sure you stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Patrick here. I've already moved to the moon because I'm tired of all the trouble and all the dramas back there on Earth. So reporting live from the moon today. If you guys haven't already, do me one big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe button. Let's talk about what's going on in the overall markets right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on with Ukraine, with Putin, and now, well, with our, I don't even know what you want to call him, the guy who pretends to be president, who reads a teleprompter and can barely read a teleprompter. Well, here we are. And it's a very interesting world that we're living in. A lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty heading forward. If we look at the charts here on the, looking at the chart on the SPY, look at this. Since the beginning of January 2022, the beginning of 2022 year, we are down from the 478 area. Right now, we're down about only 11%, which is not that bad, really, when you think about it, with the overall market down 11% on the year. When the normal, returns on the market for the year till December 21st, you had a 27% move there, which if you would have gotten in at a 11% dip and the market went up 27%, well, then you'd be up 30-something%. So, is it time to buy the dip? Is it time to, really load up here? One thing that I want to point out, like I said, there's that very fine line in the sand right now, and that's right here, baby. This is the finest line in the sand you're ever going to find. This area right here, the 428 to 426 level, this is very important. We want to see a bounce off of this level. If we don't see a bounce off of this level, well, then it's pretty clear to see where we're heading next, and that's down here to the $400 level. So from that drop, from the highs down to that level, you're only down about 15% overall on the year, which is pretty impressive to see. That the overall market, even when we think the world is ending, it's only down about 15% for the year. So maybe it's not so bad, so bad. But people are talking about a bigger dip here. Let's say if we go for a 30% pullback in the overall market, that puts us down here, kind of this level here, down to this 320 level, which we bounced at multiple times there in 2020 when the market kind of rallied back there. If you go and you look at the coronavirus drop, that was about a 30% drop, and that's when the Fed started stepping in, and that's when the government saved the world here and basically printed trillions and trillions of dollars. So, hey, if you enjoy these videos, do me one big favor, my friends. Hit that like button. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you want to learn more about the broker that I use every single day, Interactive Brokers, there's a link down below to check them out. And to learn more about their real easy-to-use app right on your phone, you can buy, sell options, and all that fun stuff right there on your phone. Interactive Brokers, link down below. Let's get back into the action. I don't think we're at a point now where, the world is ending just yet. I think if we break below $400 in the SPY, well, then the world might be ending. The problem is we've seen a lot of really big drops in a lot of really hot stocks, like Facebook. Facebook down to $201 right now. So on the yearly chart, or since all-time highs, Facebook is down about almost 50%. I made a video the other day talking about how I think Facebook is going to be a buy at some point. The problem is we got to figure out when the overall market is going to bounce. If the SPY and tech starts to bounce off of that level that we talked about just a few seconds ago, well, then I might really start to look to be a buyer of Facebook. I think Facebook, anything below $200 on Facebook, you can't really, I guess, I can't guarantee for you guys that this is obviously not financial advice, and I'm not going to guarantee that you can't lose here, but look at this move. Let's say we drop down to 180 and we push back to all-time highs. That's about a 118% move. If you would have bought Facebook last year, let's say you bought it at this level, 335, that's a 15% move. Let's say if you bought it at the beginning of 2021, let's say you bought Facebook at the beginning of 2021 here, you got about a 47% move on the year for, well, yeah, a little bit to all-time highs, about 47% move there. So if you're buying the dip here on Facebook down at these lows, and Facebook gets back to a highs of $400 or more, well, you're looking at almost a 120, 130% move there on Facebook. So anything below, I think $200 is an area to definitely be looking at. But again, we're kind of looking at the overall markets. I'm looking at the overall markets here. I want to see where we're bouncing at. Right now, the QQQs having trouble at this level. And really, if you look, there's not a ton of support until maybe down here again at this level, this $300 level, which kind of also lines up with that previous resistance there on the Qs. So $300 is kind of a line in the sand. I think, well, we're at the line in the sand now. If the SPY can't hold, I would expect the Qs to get down here to the $300 level. And from that move, you're looking at about a 35% move back to all-time highs. We all know that one thing is true, or at least it's been true for the last 100 years here, is that stocks always go up, right? So the question now is, well, when do the stocks start to go back up? One thing that I talk about this one a lot is TQQ, my friends. TQQ, this is definitely something to always have on your watch list. We're looking for reversals. We're looking for a reason for the market to bounce back here. And if we get to that level, you can see the 2QQs. This is a 3 times ETF basically on the overall NASDAQ. You're looking at about 100% move back to all-time highs there and possibly even higher if this really did start to go. So, if you look at this from 2021, the beginning of 2021 here, let's just say like from the lows of 2021 to the highs of 2021, you got about 137% move on this massive move there. So we're looking for some big moves to happen here, but the problem is we got to figure out when is the dip going to be complete. No one knows for sure, but we've got to kind of look at the charts and understand. Also, looking at companies like Microsoft. Microsoft had a really good earnings recently. They've got a lot of stuff going on with new acquisitions and things. I like Microsoft. I definitely like Microsoft for what they're doing. Looking at the chart right here, look at this thing. It has been a beast for the last, since 2016. Look at this return on this baby. If you would have bought in on Microsoft back in 2015, you'd be up 700% at the all-time highs. Even right now, you're still up 551%. So I like Microsoft. Again, I'm waiting for overall confirmation of reversals. Things that I want to see is that we're figuring out what's going on in Ukraine. Is there going to be a World War III or is there not going to be? I think either way, the market's going to kind of figure it out, and then we're going to go back to all-time highs here at some point. We've also got some other issues as well with the price of oil. So that's going to rise the price of shipping, food costs, electricity. The cost of building products is going to go higher because of oil going up, right? So we got all those issues, and that's going to start to hurt the overall consumer and then hurt the overall consumer base, or the businesses that are selling products, because you're going to have to raise the value. And then guess what? We've got inflation. Inflation is running rampant right now. The government continues to print more money. And well, there's a problem with that. You can't just keep printing money out of thin air. As much as the liberals and people want to think about how they can, just print money out of thin air and just live off of imaginary money, well, there has to be a type of work done to receive a reward. And you simply cannot just print money. There has to be an actual value to that. I think there's going to be a lot of issues with inflation running rampant, and that's also going to lead to some massive moves in the stock market. If the value of the dollar continues to drop, but the overall market continues to go higher, you're going to get bigger moves, faster moves, because the value, people are trying to put their money to work because their money is losing value in their bank account. So inflation, it's a real deal. It's a problem. It's something to really be thinking about. I know the government's telling people that the inflation rate's like 7%, but really the inflation rate is around, I would say, around 30 to 40% based on the amount of money that the government has just printed into existence. Imaginary, money is ready for spending, So there's a lot of things going on, but overall, I think that the market still has a lot of promise in the future. The problem is, when do you start to buy? Right now, definitely watching the SPY at this 420 level there, and then we'll see if $400 is next support. I don't think there's any reason to go crazy and start jumping in and going, and buy. I think there's always going to be time to wait and get that confirmation of a bottom, or at least wait for some, really wait for like the end of the world. Like when it gets to a point where like, oh my God, we're all going to die. Like the news is talking about the world ending, the stock market's crashing. When we finally get to that point, well, then it might be an idea to start buying. Also, when we start to see that the government or the Fed starts to talk about maybe, working on some easing or buying and talking about some relief packages, once that starts to happen, that could really kind of signal a bottom. So I definitely think that there's value in stocks moving into the future, value in cryptocurrency, but the problem is we got to look at all of the things that are going on in the world today. So if you guys haven't already, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. I'll talk to you guys later on.